What is up, y'all? It is Scardi B here with Sugar We're Going In, and I'm so excited. It's another Fam Friday, and this one is super special because y'all really are fam to me. Like, y'all can DM me and we'll talk, and I'm a real person, and we will be best friends, and that's what happened today. So we are here joined by Morgan, and Morgan, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you listen to Sugar We're Going In.
Oh my God, Queen. Okay.
Yeah. You get to see me do the intro live. Okay.
I know. Period. I love it. Yeah, so my name is Morgan. I am from Memphis and I am a Patrick Stump stan.
First and foremost,
I had to put that first. A Fall Out Boy fan since I was like almost 2 decades now.
Yeah.
I listen to Sugar We're Going In obviously because of Miss Scorty B.
Scorty.
And it's so interesting because when I found the podcast, I was like, oh, this is literally my two worlds colliding. This is everything I needed it to be. And it was a dream come true. And so I was immediately hooked. And then that one episode where you were like, let me just go on this tangent real quick about how I'm a Patrick stan.
I needed to let the people know. Because I felt like the first few episodes were very like neutral. Mm-hmm. And I needed them to understand that there was nothing neutral or normal
about how we feel about
where we're going. No,
literally.
Like, honestly, like this podcast is just a vehicle so I can talk about Patrick Stump. Period. I mean, like anything else.
And what else is there to talk about?
Nothing. What else do I talk about? Nothing. I literally wait, let me give you the TT on this. This morning I had my first interview about the podcast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So congratulations. That should be coming out soon. I know, I'm like pooping myself and I'm like literally here talking to like this journalist and be like, Patrick Stump was so nice to me. And so I'm nice to everyone else. I called him a real good Midwestern boy. I just blacked out. I was just like, let me go in on this.
I love that. No, I would just be like, he's an icon. Like, he's a legend.
That's it.
And he is forever the moment.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. I mean, it means the entire world because I feel like these two worlds were like worlds that like I never felt fully in, right? Like I felt like being like a light-skinned Dominican, like feeling like hip hop, like if I was like way too open about it, like I was like not respecting like Black people. And then like on the other hand, like when it comes to like loving rock, me being too fucking dark for that, you know?
Literally.
So,
yeah.
If anything, I really wanted to give myself permission to do the emotional labor that a lot of Black and brown people have to do in this scene, which is explain why they're welcome and why they should be here and why these two worlds live so together. So thank you. It means a lot.
Oh my gosh. No, this is truly amazing. Like, I mean, and I love how we've discussed it before, how like when you look at people in the scene, it's like you don't see yourself as frequently as you'd like. But I feel like as we've gotten older, we're seeing it more.
Yes.
Like you're seeing a lot of people that look like us at concerts and enjoying it, and also recognizing and seeing a lot of those ties from hip hop to Fall Out Boy. And
absolutely.
Just love that shit. So good.
It's so perfect. So you talked about being a Patrick Stump stan. What does it mean to be president of the Stump Club? Like, talk to me.
Yeah, I was officially sworn in recently.
Inauguration.
It was truly my biggest honor. Yeah, ever since like the second I looked at him, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
That is a handsome young man.
Yeah. Like when I'm telling people, like, I'm like, yo, like, yes, like you see Patrick Stump now, amazing. But like Patrick Stump in 2007 just ruined everything for me. Like ruined anything anybody could ever be. Like, please, sweet baby angel in your Bape hoodie and snapback. Like you have ruined, like nobody will ever be as good as you've. No, the Bape was crazy. Patrick is definitely a moment, and he's so humble.
Forever.
And that's the thing. We'll always sound like crazy people about it.
No, I accepted it, and I've really come to terms with how insane I sound when I talk about him, because I just think he's like I love how unashamedly influenced he is by all kinds of culture and especially black culture, and
Yes.
how like he's able to seep that into music. And that's when I really became a huge stan, because I grew up, for the listeners, I'm black. And
Oh my
so
God, wait. Bow, 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 bow. I'm putting air horns all over this.
period. But yeah, I'm black. And so my parents had me listening to like gospel music and R&B music. And so when I would listen to Fall Out Boy and I'd like hear vocal runs, I was like, pause. Something just happened. And I kept hearing it over and over as I'd listen, and I was like, oh, we have to stand. We gotta
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah. And it was really beautiful also hearing Patrick's voice develop from like what he
Oh
was singing
yeah.
in Take This to Your Grave. I mean, he was 18 recording that. I
Wow.
hear myself at that age, like when I was doing radio, and I was like, who's that child? Like who is that child and why did they let her on air? So it's
Mm.
like hearing his voice like develop and get not even just deeper, but like more like in depth, and he got more confident with his
Yeah.
runs. That was, I mean, Infinity on High for like Patrick's voice plus Folie à Deux, like
Hmm.
wow. And then
That
we got
was
it,
when he
we
really.
got it back with So Much for Stardust. We won't talk about the middle ones. Respect and honor to American Beauty, American Psycho, and Mania, but
In terms of vocal,
those are my stepkids for sure. Like I love them. Like I love them, but
it's not the same.
they'll never be my kids, you know?
Yeah, I didn't give birth to those.
No, but I
But
love
he
them
put his
because
whole.
somebody I love gave birth to them, you
Yes,
know? But
yes.
like not me. Couldn't be me.
Like, yeah, I'm their godmom, but like, that's really for show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. But no, I will say on Mania, he really did put his whole Badissi into Heaven's Gate.
Okay, yes, wait, chill. Because yes, Heaven's Gate is probably one of two. Let me see how many Mania songs I have like saved because that'll be the real tell. I know for sure Heaven's Gate. God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get canceled by the 13-year-olds that really love Mania. Um,
They're gonna do a
sorry.
whole Reddit thread on us and be
Oh
like,
my God, cancel me. All I'm telling everybody is like anything against me is a microaggression. So like be
period.
careful. Be
That was racism.
careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Me talking shit. Okay, crazy. I have okay. It's Hold Me Tight or Don't, hot.
Hmm.
Church, hot. Heaven's Gate,
Oh
hot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sunshine Riptide?
Period. That's about Burna
What do
Boy.
you mean you had Burna Boy? It's
Just
like
casual.
it's like that Tiffany Pollard like Beyonce gift, and it's like
Yeah.
Burna Boy
Literally, I was like,
every time, and I was like, did someone just say blunt in a Fall Out Boy song? Like, and
because
I'm
I
like,
agree.
because yes, sir,
Heard.
because mm-hmm. So you're right, you're right.
Yeah, but for sure, I feel like So Much for Stardust is
Ah,
like when I literally listened to it one morning, my body was like, "Wake up, Fall Out Boy's here," and I was like,
baby,
"Okay."
honey, wake up! New fob just dropped.
Literally, and so I was like, "All right, let me go listen." And I was like, "This album is top two, and I don't know if it's number two."
It's I will always be a Foley girl,
Oh, for
like
sure.
Foley, like except for America's Sweethearts, and I don't care. But you know what? We can't all be perfect because God, you
No.
know, like was like we can't make this too perfect, like
True. I would
Scarlet
be
would
too
spiral.
powerful.
So we were talking about obviously how much we love Patrick Stump.
Yes.
And what I really wanted to crack more into is, you know, you talked about kind of like how their music has evolved kind of like as we've evolved. You know, that was a question that you
Mhm.
posed and like your talking points when you submitted it to me. Can you talk to me a little bit about how Fall Out Boy's music has evolved for you over the years?
Absolutely. So I started listening to them with From Under the Cork Tree because I was like 8 or 9, I think.
Mhm.
And so I was hearing Sugar We're Going Down, and it was like I'd never really experienced that kind of angst or anything like that. And listening to that music was so fun. Infinity on High, I feel like, was
Yeah.
when I started to really begin thinking really deeply about everything around me and processing how different the world was around me. And I feel like their album was them really exploring like fame and learning about like their place in that. I feel like with Folie Do, we obviously had this very momentous election
Yeah.
when that was released. And so like I think about like Coffees for Closers, and I think
Mm,
about a lot of those really
yeah.
poignant songs that are very clearly like expressing the frustration and how some people respond to that kind of progress. Um and then they took a break. And then I especially feel like with Mania, I feel like people crap on Mania a lot, and I understand that it's very experimental, but when I listened to their interviews and they talked about what mania meant and understanding that the word mania, I was an English teacher if it's not obvious by now,
Yeah.
but when I look at the word mania and I really dissect it, I feel like that album does a really good job of expressing the
Yeah.
highs and the lows and the weird in betweens of like what mania really looks like. And then I feel like obviously So Much for Stardust is a very deliberate take on when everything gets flipped upside down, how are
Hmm.
we going to respond to this?
Yeah.
I love how they basically have said that What a Time to Be Alive, the number one song on the album, just keeps making us curious. We can talk about it now. We can talk about that.
Wait,
Yeah.
because why have you said something so controversial yet so brave? Ma'am, it's the best.
It's literally
Tell
the best song on the album.
tell me that's not off of Soul Punk. Tell me that isn't like a little. And you know that Patrick was like, I had to fight for that to be on. I was like, fight, fight,
I would have. Okay.
I, fight. No way. But like, I understand why. But it is the best song.
It
It is the.
is.
I've literally gotten inebriated and sent out like pitches to the guy that does their music videos, like Brandon Walter or whatever, right now, and been like,
Oh.
listen to this. I can read it to you after. Patrick Stump plays a Bob Barker-esque, and like it's gonna be like them going through
Ooh.
like different like game shows, but like kind of like vintagey and stuff. I have a whole. It's the most beautiful song ever. I'm sobbing.
That is a
10
beautiful
out of
music
10.
video concept.
10 out of 10.
I've thought, they could kind of go more 70s style and like things look kind of
We're right there.
funkadelic. But
We're right
then
there.
as the song progresses, I think really the shift happens where it's like, wear me like a charm on your necklace. It makes me think of Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner. Where they're like, you look so good in blue. And I feel like
Yep.
eventually I feel like the stage would start kind of falling apart and things would become kind of apocalyptic. And then it would be a really good segue into So Much for Stardust. I feel like What a Time to Be Alive, So Much for Stardust, Love from the Other Side is actually a really solid trilogy if you listen to it.
Yes, 100%. I mean, So Much for Stardust. Like, damn, what a fucking title track.
Baby, when he pulled out the black choir at the end.
No, because I said, baby, how do I sign up?
Hello, because I would have. So much for Stardust. Baby,
Come on.
Patrick.
Thought we had it on. I said, what?
Baby, and then he's in the back hitting them familiar ass runs, and you know exactly what I mean when I say that.
100%.
He's like, I was like, the amount of times I've heard him say that.
He was eating. Like, right when it's fading out to is when he starts going crazy.
And I was like, turn that up.
Turn that shit up. I remember watching like the videos of them of Patrick specifically in the studio. Like, God bless Fall Out Boy's TikTok intern, like whichever one made Patrick start doing these vlogs. Yeah. And he was like, I'm really hoping people like this. Like, I'm like so earnest. Like, of course we love it, Papo. Like, you're perfect. Like, this is great. I was like, I'm gonna cry. Like, don't make
Literally.
it. What?
I cried when I heard What a Time to Be Alive for the first time.
Yeah, 100%. That and So Much. Like,
oh yeah.
Wow.
What an intense ending to an album.
Yeah. I mean, it's very cinematic. I think it's very fitting. And I just can't believe they just didn't play it live. They were just like,
I have hopes for the second leg.
Second leg is looking awfully second leggy right now today. Today's September 5th. and they just released that some people got random Magic 8 balls with like Jimmy Eat World lyrics.
I saw. I
So
and I really need them. I understand Tennessee is a whack ass state, and that's why I don't live in Tennessee. That's why I live in Memphis.
mhm.
Um, but I really need them to come this way because my daddy said he was going to get us really good tickets, and I want
Oh, yeah, you have to go. Like
to.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it is critical life or death. Like
am I
it's one of the
getting my
best shows.
dad to want to go to a Fall Out Boy concert?
10 out of 10.
I had to work on my parents for a long time with their
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. My mom still calls him Patricio. Like she's like, "Y ese, ¿cómo está Patricio?" And I'm like, "He's good. Thanks, mom. Like I'll check in on him."
I love it.
She's so invested in anything Fall Out Boy. I still have like
Yeah.
clippings, and like whenever she goes to like flea markets, she'll like buy me like the physical CDs. I have like 13 Take to See Your Graves, like 15 From Under the Cork Trees. I'm like, this is how hoarding starts.
Well, I don't even have the actual copies of those albums. Somebody burned a CD for me with the two albums on it, and that was how
Perfect.
I started listening to them.
That's
And
all you need.
I was like, oh, this is kind of everything to
Mm.
me. This is my personality now.
Yeah, no, literally, like in Barbie, like where Ken was like, "My job is beach, like my job is Fall Out Boy."
Literally.
Like
Literally.
that's it. And my man and I have been together for 10 years, and he knows the vibe. They've been
Yeah,
here
yeah.
before him. They'll
And
damn
they'll
well
be
be
here
here
after.
after him.
Hmm.
Okay, so I need him to come correct. And if he's listening to this, Martin, I love you so much.
Aw, so sweet. I
That's
love
my
his name
baby.
is Martin. Aw.
Yeah. Something was gonna give. He looks like a Puerto Rican Pete
No,
Wentz, but like
wait, Martin
he's
as in
smart.
Patrick Martin Stone?
Pa- Patrick Martin Vaughn Stump.
Von
Can't forget
Stump.
the Vaughn goes crazy. I was like, you
Devon
didn't.
does go crazy.
I was like Devon, like Devon, like
No, literally when I saw his kid's name, I was like,
oh,
I
Declan, aka
Declan.
Declandestine Industries.
Declandestine.
Yes,
Literally, I was like,
Declandestine Industries. Yeah, what a beautiful name. It must
it
be from the
is.
family. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. My roommates were like, Morgan, what did you say? I was like, he named his kid Declan?
Declan is good.
I thought it was Declan. And they were like, no.
I'm screaming. No, it's Declan now. It's
I thought it
definitely
was
Declan.
Declan. I was like, is he married to a black woman? I'm lost.
No, but
No,
it's perfect. I love
it's
that.
Declan.
Short for Declandestine Industries.
Yeah. It's his
I
nickname.
love it. It's his nickname is 13 times longer. That's so funny. But I totally love, what you were saying about like hearing this evolution behind their music, and specifically
Mm.
like finding these connections within the songs, because like for me, like I think Foley Adu, I mean they really did it well with like Infinity on High, but like Foley Adu really brought it all together for me. I was like, damn, this music is so good because y'all hate each other so fucking much right now. Like when I saw them in 2009, they were not looking at each other. Like they came out as
Yeah.
like those beat up like salesmen, and I was like, "Oh, it's over, babe.
They're
like
pissed.
we're done here. Like this is weird. Like anybody else? Like everybody good?"
Yeah, whenever I would
Um,
see like live performances, I'm like, oh, the
e-
girls are fighting.
they're fighting. So
I love
that's how
how
I've been spiraling for the past week doing this show.
this is how I feel when I listen to the show because I'm like, oh, I forgot about that, and then I have to look it up, and then I literally freak out for like days afterwards.
No, I'm like really unwell, and like again, God bless my boyfriend, because like he has really just put up with just like so much of just the hyperfixation that comes with an ADHD or deep in a hole that I cannot get out. Because this
Yeah,
like I am locked in. I'm
I
I'm
love people with ADHD. It's like my favorite thing. Most of my friends have ADHD.
it's like the best and the worst. Like
Hmm.
I think that for this it's felt very natural to me, because I was like, hey, this is my special interest for like ever.
Yeah.
And now I'm giving myself permission to talk about it and not feel weird about it. But like
Mm.
my poor boyfriend, I'm like, hey, and then in this interview they said this, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, you're so beautiful yet so damaged. Like what? Like, are you okay? And I'm like, no.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So we're here talking all things Fall Out Boy, And you also asked about like some of like your favorite hidden gem songs. Like what are they for you and
Mm.
why?
So, wow, my favorite hidden gem songs, I feel like are the ones that on Reddit people are like, we could eliminate that one first if we had to eliminate a song from the album. Usually those are my favorites. Like, why did I see someone recently say that they would immediately take out It's Hard to Say I Do When I Don't on Infinity on High? And why was it the first song that got removed? I said, oh,
Yikes.
heathens, I'll pray for you.
Wow. How does it feel to be like, why are you so loud and so wrong?
Like, loud.
I hate that. Yeah,
And
I
I
love,
took that personally.
and these are the same people who are like, gay is not a synonym for shitty. And it's like, respect your elders.
Literally.
Like, what are you doing? I speak fast and I'm not going to repeat myself.
Period.
No. So listen carefully to everything I say.
That song hits. Like when I hear the in the car, I'm like, I need to
Dude,
focus.
that's like me with From Now On We Are Enemies.
One of my friends saw it live in
But
Atlanta,
I'm
and she
very
lost
upset.
it.
I got Pavlov. Whereas
You won.
I
You won.
ate.
Yeah,
I was
devoured.
fed. Like I was like was like fully fed, fully
Yeah,
ado, like this whole tour.
yeah,
But not hearing From Now On We're Enemies will always haunt me. 100%.
yeah. That's one of my favorites. I also do love Pavlov. That's
Yeah.
just a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Um,
It was really gorgeous. And then I heard Wham's live, which is like another one of like, yeah.
yes.
I was
And that ending,
so
the ending of Wamps, yeah.
we love
I
him.
also love on Soul Punk. I would say Allie is like
Oh yeah, said you were protected. I thought you meant you had a gun. Like what are we like
like
insane. The drum fill, the way he filled the joke, it was so good. I love soul punk so much.
I feel like his lyric, like the way he chooses to enunciate and the way that he like does certain emphasis and like goes high notes when he goes good. I'm like,
Yeah.
who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
Because that
No,
was beautiful.
he definitely thinks different. I love that. And that actually leads us right into you had some questions for me.
I did. Yeah. So, what songs do you feel have like a deeper root in hip hop than you think a lot of people realize of Fall Out Boys or anything
Hmm.
that they've worked on?
Deeper roots in hip hop than, I mean, other than like the obvious outward stuff, I think it all also comes down to like the collaborations that didn't make it on tape. Like
Mm.
like Fall Out Boy and Fetty Wap did Trap Queen together. Like there is a recording of Patrick Stump singing Trap Queen with Fetty Wap. And I think it's moments like that, and I think it's moments that specifically Patrick gets to like perform with like the Roots. When he
Yeah.
did that If You Think You're Lonely Now.
Wait until tonight, bitch.
Ma'am.
The
And
way that
like
the earth shifted,
I was like, that's my new president. Like they're in front of DC and I'm like,
literally, he's why I salute.
what?
I stand for the pledge for him.
So what
Sorry,
when it
Grandpa.
no, sorry, Grandpapa. Um but some songs that like have deeper hip hop roots, I even think it's down to like the lyrics. Like we talked about What a Time to Be Alive. They literally say everything is lit. Like
Everything is lit.
everything is lit. Like I think it's the slang, I think it's the
Yeah.
vernacular. I think again a lot of it is like stuff that we don't even hear on the records that they want to represent themselves as, like
Mm-hmm.
the covers, like when Patrick did Shutterbug by Big Boy. Like
Mm-hmm. What?
what? But
Yeah.
he ate, and like it's just like things like that and what you said about the vocal runs. I think like Patrick is like the ideal white guy on the hook. Like his work with
Yeah.
Lupe Fiasco. So it's like outward stuff, but also the way things are sung. Like there's sometimes in the album So Much for Stardust, um, like in Hold Me Like a Grudge, where he just like kind of starts like like
Yes.
I was like, okay, I hear it, babe. Like I hear
Uh-huh.
it. So I think that we get it a lot more in Patrick's cadences and like the
Uh-huh.
choices he makes when he sings.
The choice at the end of What a Time to Be Alive, where he hits that high note, I was like, though it's the exact tone of his note is so familiar feeling to me
Yeah.
and a lot of music I grew up listening to. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard him hit that kind of note
No.
in a song. And I literally like had to pause it and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was really cool and like very awesome to hear his confidence in it more importantly.
I'm really curious, like what pushed this as a passion project? Like where you went
Ooh.
from like, this is something that I love. How did you decide to turn it into like to create something around that passion?
Yeah, it started off as like a Twitter thread actually that was like 2 years ago where I was just listening to Infinity on High and I was like, do motherfuckers even know like
The gummy had hit at this
Babyface
point.
and like yes. Oh, the pen. I was like it was I was going crazy and I was like, do y'all even know? And from there, like a lot of people were like, I did not know. And like a lot of my friends and followers are like not Fall Out Boy fans. So they're like, what, Scarlett? And I'm like, yeah. Um, and so it was that. And when I came to like make it happen, I work at recording studios and I feel like
Mhm.
when you work at Disney, you don't go to Disney. So I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I was missing out on the play part of being in the music industry and like working
Hmm.
in art. And I've always been a talking head. I was on a morning show. The season ended a few months ago, but I interview and I'm a journalist, and I never gave myself the permission because I felt cringy and I felt like I had to be too cool around that specifically. But I think my biggest attribute and my biggest strength is that I'm a fan and is that I can talk about all this stuff. So I think giving myself permission to
Mm.
kind of let whatever cringy part of Scarlet go and just play invites a lot of people to play along.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you
that's what
tapped
really excites
deep
me.
into mine. Yeah.
Oh, yay. I mean, that's what it's about. Like, I think like I'm a real ass person. Like I love what I do and I never ever ever want to be too cool for anything I do.
Yeah,
So,
same.
and it's just like a music industry thing where it's like, well, you got to be cool so like you can work with artists and stuff, and it's like I'm pretty nuts and I work with artists and I do a really good job at it, you know?
Yeah.
I've worked with Beyonce, Rihanna, Ed Sheeran, like the Obamas, the Orange is the New Black. I've worked with everybody.
Oh
And
wow.
I do VIP artist hospitality. So whenever they're in town, like I'm taking care of
Oh,
them and
that's
stuff.
so sick.
Yeah, yeah. So I've like driven like Rihanna around in like a golf cart, like been around for like Beyonce's sound check and stuff, like been the one to like haul her wardrobe with like the 23 sequined like thing on it. Like it's
Oh wow.
super cool, but it's like Fall Out Boy is the only thing that I felt like almost bashful because I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
but like, what if they find out? And it's like, fuck it, let them find out. I think especially now
Yeah.
that they're old ass men, like I think about the day that maybe in 5, 10, 15 years when new fans are discovering this, that there's almost like this time capsule or this oral history that I think
Mm.
in specifically black and brown culture,
Yep.
oral history is something so important that as a community we need to tell the people that we love the stories that we
Mhm.
love about the people that we love. And now we are so privileged to have technology other
Yeah.
than books to put it in and to have tone and stuff that you miss through print. So whenever I'm feeling like like I remember like it's not for you right now, it's for
Mhm.
the community that's coming up.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going.
Oh my god, that was so beautiful.
Meh.
And I very much agree because excuse me, the second that you were like storytelling, I was like exactly. Exactly. It's and also it's funny you mentioning being like bashful about it and being like, "Oh, I don't know." But it's like the like you talking about it and you showing that you have a lot of interest in it allows a lot of people that look like us to feel confident doing that and they don't have to
Yeah.
go through the same thing we went through of like, are we going to get accepted here? Is it okay if we like this?
We're making
Am I
space
going to
and we're
get
holding
bullied?
it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that,
for little versions of us running around, and that, like, knowing that I'm doing that and saving someone from that potential hurt, and like knowing that you're doing something as significant as this is so beautiful.
thank you. That really
Yeah.
means a lot. And it's just a wild ride. And to think it's not even close to over or that there's so much left to do is really
Yeah.
exciting. So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yes. Yeah. Tell me, what are some moments where you were like, I live and breathe Patrick? I would
Yes.
die for Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me all, like, how did you, where were moments where you were like, oh, he's that nigga?
Yes, precisely. Number one, I remember Truant Wave and Soul Punk and everything he did in his solo career being so essential to me. Like
Mhm.
from the covers to the album to the tour, like seeing that's really where I was like, I'm a Patrick girly, but seeing soul punk, like I went to like 10 to 15 soul punk shows. Like I on 11/11/2011, I was
Mm.
in Chicago for his hometown show. Like I went.
You're like,
I was
I'm
there.
there.
I was outside. And to see this verbosity and like now being like around the age, like he made Soul Punk came out when he was like 27, and it's
Yeah.
like I understand the era that he was in.
Yep.
It just gives me so much respect for him for like just doing this for himself, and like I hope that he has zero regrets, and of course he's going to
Mhm.
listen to like the people who had some shitty thing to say because we're human and we're going to do that.
Right.
But I think that there was nothing more inspiring than seeing him be his full authentic self on stage and
Yeah.
perform like with his whole heart. And just when
And
he
to be
came out,
experimental in that way, especially as a white guy, not I'm not giving white people a lot of credit for things, but like to be as open about being like, this is the music I'm influenced by. I'm a
well,
conglomerate of so many beautiful ideas, and here I go, is just stunning.
95% of Patrick's openers were black.
And I feel God in this recording studio tonight
Yeah,
because
there is a lot of pain in this world, but not here. Like he had
literally.
Omos Keith open for him. He had Dawn T, who's Questlove's sister, open for him in Philly. Between that and you know the woman that's on Lil Yachty's new album, she goes as something like Diana something, but she used to go as Winter Gordon. And before she was
Mm.
all over Billboard, she was opening for Patrick. I just remember just being so grateful to.
She's very similar to Sade
Yes, yes,
in,
big Sade
yeah.
vibes. Yes. So I was like, I feel like he gets it and
Mhm.
sees people of color not as a token or gimmick, like, but
Yeah.
as something that he wants to give honor to, and in any way that he can,
Mhm.
um, put them on a pedestal. The upperclassmen, shout out to Ride in Paris, like just people who stayed in my life and were Don T, like literally many of
Mhm.
Patrick's openers. I was like, I have to get to know you because we just all feel like friends, which is why like
Yeah.
I can't wait to, see how that moves because, I'll
Mhm.
end it with I really love the way he represented black culture in his solo music and his tour.
Yeah. But like this podcast is so personal, and it feels like you're like, I really was like, after one episode, like, oh, we're best friends. I've never spoken to her in my life, and now I'm gonna slide in her Instagram DMs and let her know that
And
this
now
is
we talk literally every day.
yeah. And I was like, man, this podcast is like, I'm like, she's so funny. She does her research so well.
Thank you.
The editing is really phenomenal. So, like, because sometimes you might hear like those awkward pauses, or like not on yours. It's like everything is so clean and so professional, and I just love it. And so I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
doing this, because like this is feeding me in a way I never thought I'd be fed.
Thank you. I
It
really
means a lot.
appreciate that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Oh, I was like, I need to go as niche as possible, because that's where you find your most accurate friends and audience and community within it. So it was a big risk, but I'm so happy I took it and that I continue the
Mm.
momentum because it connects me to such awesome people. And like,
What?
I feel like, especially post pandemic, like where we're like, oh, fuck Zoom. Like, I'm like, no, like now is where we actually get to like have fun with it and like
Yeah, for
meet
sure.
people. Well, thank you so much for being a part of Fan Friday.
Oh, thank you for
Tell
having me.
people where and if they can find you, or just leave the people off with a sentiment.
Sure. So you guys can find me all up in your mind.
There we go. Yeah,
And
as in mind your business. Yeah.
literally, when I taught high school, cannot follow me on socials. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
understand that.
Shout out all my former students. I love y'all.
Grrr.
Shout out Pooh Shiesty. He is also my former student. Love him.
That's insane. How did we not talk about that? God bless.
And shout out Squirty B.
Squatty, thank you so much, Mo. I really appreciate you. And that's it, y'all. We got to give him a big... Wait, you have to give me a mouth air horn. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, baby. I need to remember to keep doing that, but that was a good one. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, bye.